Hi, I'm Rick Dior, and today we're going to look at page 3 of the Wrist and Finger Control book by Charles Wilcoxon. So this continues this series. So today's a little different because these exercises on this page are done with a forearm wrist motion. Now I look at this a little bit differently than maybe some other people. I never play tight, so it's not like I'm using my forearm like this. It's more of a tighter wrist where I'm gripping the stick a little bit tighter and I'm using this motion. So that forearm is moving slightly, but it's never this. And it's definitely not an arm motion. Okay? So that's the way I sort of look at these three things in this book. The fingers obviously are this. The wrist, I use a loose wrist, so it's this. And the arm would be a tighter wrist like this, where your forearm is coming into play there. So these exercises on page 3 are great when played with a little bit of a tighter wrist, because you'll see these types of rhythms in orchestral passages for snare drum and other instruments. We have to be very, very precise. The music of Shostakovich is a great example where he does a lot of rhythms like this. So it has to be very even, very tight. And when you use a loose wrist like that to play it, it sounds a little different. So it sounds like this. It's more of a drum set technique, but a tighter wrist is a different sound. It's much more articulate. It's much more even. So there's two types of ways to approach these things. So today I'll be playing with a tight wrist, and that's what I consider in this book as a forearm motion. So we won't do these too fast today. You can do these as fast as 160 quarter note. That's very fast. We'll do them slower so you can see what's happening. Now, he doesn't write all the stickings out here, so it's a little bit confusing. So the way I approach this is that I'm alternating every stroke. So whatever comes next is the other hand. So this first one done slowly should look like this. So I don't approach it as if I'm playing straight 16ths, which would be this. So straight 16ths, and then I'm leaving out the note that's not written. So I'm actually alternating from stroke to stroke. And I think that's the way you should approach it too. So we'll try these at a reasonable tempo. 140 is good. And we'll play through each one twice. And by the way, I'm using this quiet tone practice pad as always, so you can hear me talking. And I'm using today these Wenge reverse tip drumsticks. They're about 72 grams. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now you see how my left hand is moving there, like this. I'm not using a lot of fingers on the accent, just a little. So sometimes the stick is coming out just a bit to help out there, but I'm trying to keep it a little bit tighter than usual. Many times on the drum set you might see me do this. So there I'm opening my hand like that. But here I'm using a lot of wrist and therefore forearm. So. And that way everything's even. Now this helps a lot when you're playing very quietly as well. And I definitely recommend playing like that when you have to play very quiet passages. It gives you a lot more control if you just hold the stick a little bit tighter. So I hope you enjoyed this page 3. We'll be back soon with the next page from this series.